Hi there guys, welcome back, and today I will be continuing the next part for what if Tarble went to Earth with Goku. Now I do just want to say quickly that I'm sorry for doing two parts for this what if within a short time frame of each other. I just have a funny feeling that I'm going to be very busy and I won't have a chance to write a script, so I have a script ready for this next part which I was going to release a bit later on. However, because it's done and it's a little bit less work, I've decided to do this bit now. Hope that's alright with everyone. Sorry for putting out two parts of this in a row. I want to say thank you for all the positivity the last video got. It really was a nice thing to see. I want to say thank you for Super Savage for sharing my video on his channel. I really appreciate it. And I also want to say thank you to everyone who left names down in the comments last time. I liked all names that were shared and I couldn't honestly choose. So I put most of the names in the hat and picked the one out, and whichever one I got, that was the name he was getting. Now, the two boys meet Bulma and begin the adventure they had, and at the very end of the last part we had the three meet the Turtle Hermit and Master Roshi. Now, in this part they're heading towards the next Dragon Ball, and this is the village where Oolong is threatening. Of course they don't know it's Oolong, but this is what it is. And like normal, the two same boys are mistaken for Oolong and are attacked by the same man in canon. The axe doesn't really affect the boys at all and actually hurts the man's hands more than anything else. And once he finds out that the boys aren't Oolong, he apologises, and like normal they have a deal, like if they get rid of Oolong, they get the Dragon Balls. Unlike canon, however, Enma, which is the name I've selected for Tarble, is the one to wear the dress. He's a bit more likely to sit down and stick through the plan. From the brief time Bulma has met the two boys, she knows it's more likely to happen this way. And for a matter of fact, the plan works. Oolong believes he's a young girl, takes him up to his lair, where when he gets brought inside, quickly knocks Oolong out and lets all of the villagers in. But when they see all of the girls being spoiled and not wanting to come back, everything sort of falls back into canon. However, when Oolong asks where's the girl he brought up with him, when Bulma points to Tarble, he almost cries a little because he was really excited to have a nice quiet girl, and now he knows it was a guy. A little bit upsetting for him. Anyway, unlike normal, Oolong hasn't explained how his shapeshifting works. All they know is that he can shapeshift and his normal form is a pig. Anyway, they get the Dragon Ball, and like normal, they take Oolong with them on the way to the next Dragon Ball. Things go the same pretty much, with Oolong getting given the sweet, which causes the digestive problems, and they lose all capsules they had, meaning they are walking through the desert, and the two same boys refuse to ride Nimbus just to be fair to the other two, and honestly, when they come across Yamcha, he still does try to rob them. But unlike in canon, there's very big power gap. Yamcha is very much outclassed here, so just because the two same boys haven't eaten isn't enough for them to be at a disadvantage, and in fact, it probably doesn't even change the flow of the battle at all. However, when Yamcha does get into a fighting stance, so do the two boys. The Earthling doesn't quite know how outclassed he is at the moment, and in his defence, he doesn't, 1, know their sayings, 2, know how strong they are, and 3, how very much outclassed he is anyway. And before the fight breaks out, the two same boys look to each other and have a game of rock, paper, scissors, with Enma being the one to come out on top, and he was the one who walks closest to Yamcha. When Yamcha charges at Tarble with his Wolfgang Fist, he quickly dodges all of the attacks, and when Yamcha is shocked and stunned for a second at the fact that he just evaded everything like that, Enma quickly punches Yamcha in the stomach, making the poor bandit puke up his lunch and pass out. So Yamcha wasn't really a threat. However, when Bulma gets up and sees that there is quite a cute young boy there, and then it's revealed that Oolong has a carrier van, she takes Yamcha with them. Bulma's wish with the Dragon Balls is to get a boyfriend. Maybe she can save that wish and actually get a lifetime supply of strawberries. The small issue she didn't know that would happen with Yamcha is every time he wakes up while they're in the van travelling, he passes out because Bulma's in front of him, caring to his wound, or the singular gut punch he took, but that's still quite damaging, especially from Enma. And this happens pretty much all day. He wakes up, he passes out, he wakes up, he passes out, and unfortunately for the pure bandit, he can't seem to catch a break. The only time he actually manages to get up and stay up is when it's a bit into night. The two same boys are out sparring, Bulma's having a shower, Oolong's the only one watching them. Poir's there. She went with him just because she couldn't actually stop them from taking Yamcha, so she thought she might as well go with them just to make sure he's alright. Once it's explained to him what's happened and why it's night, he understands why he has been in and out of consciousness now. And he rubs his stomach, which is still hurting from the one punch he took. He knows what he wants to do, and he catches a glimpse of the two Saiyan brothers sparring outside. Now, he walks out there, and Goku and Enma are already in a fighting stance, and seeing him come out, they just shift their attention towards him, just in case he tries to attack them or do anything funny. He is a bandit after all. Not that they really understand the concept too well. Well, Goku doesn't anyway, but they know he is stronger than their two friends anyway. But nothing weird happens other than the fact he gets down on his knees and puts his hand together, looks at Enma and says, "Please, can you teach me how to fight?" This shocks the brothers as they've never been asked to teach a person, and Yamcha is being genuine here. He says that he's always wanted to be strong, and he's never been beaten as badly as he was, especially by someone so much younger than him and smaller. This is the first time this sort of thing has happened, and he wants to learn how to fight just as well as he does. He'll drop the life of crime, he'll become a martial artist. And before his younger brother gets a chance to respond, Goku jumps in saying, "Yeah, he'll train you," which makes Yamcha happy to hear as well. However, Enma's a bit unsure if he can teach people. He guesses he'll try his best, and he was going to say yes anyway, but he wasn't too sure how much he can teach. So yeah, Yamcha's joining the group early, and is going to be getting some training in now. It does take a while for him to be able to sit in the same room as Bulma, so for a little bit, he tends to have to stay out of the same area as her. But Bulma's very pushy, so she probably tries to force a lot of time with him, and at some point he can start talking to her and be in the same room as her. It gets a lot better for him, and by the time they arrive at Frying Pan Mountain, he can pretty much hold a conversation with her, just barely. Now, I do just want to quickly cover what sort of training Tarble would put Yamcha through. It would probably just be re-showing Yamcha the things Grandpa Gohan showed him. For example, when Grandpa Gohan was training him, there must have been some basic stances, some basic training, stuff like this to build body muscle. So that's probably what he's showing Yamcha now. And in Yamcha's defense, he is plenty strong by himself, so it's probably not too hard for him to do. Anyway, when they arrive at the next location of Dragon Ball, Oolong and Yamcha put together, this is where the super strong Ox King lives, and they don't really want to mess with him. However, hearing he's super strong, Goku gets excited, and to be honest, Tarble does a little bit as well. He's never really truly been challenged. This could be the first person in the world to be stronger than him. So when they get a bit closer and they see the whole place is on fire, like normal, Goku flies up on Nimbus to try and, get the Dragon Ball. However, he just gets burnt. But also, like normal, Ox King does try to attack the group, with Tarble and Yamcha standing in front of Poir, Oolong and Bulma to defend them. However, the fight doesn't actually ever break out. Ox King realises that fighting stance is the exact same as his friend Gohan's, and he asks how does he learn it, with Enma saying that he got taught it by his grandpa Gohan, which puts the Ox King at rest. And then when Goku comes back with the Nimbus, he asks where did he get the Nimbus, and says, "Oh, some old man called Roshi gave it to me." And then Ox King asks if the boy can go and grab the old turtle hermit, as he has something to put out the fire so Ox King can finally get back into his house. With Goku agreeing, he says he doesn't really remember the way, but he'll try his best. And Enma, he does sort of know, however, he thinks that it's probably best he stay here just in case Ox King tries something funny. Even though he believes that he's a pretty nice guy if they knew their granddad. Now, the surprising part about this is that Yamcha stepped in front to defend everyone. Yamcha hasn't grown much in the few little bits of training he has done, but he has grown a little bit. Now, the training he did, like I said, was probably just a little bit of light body workout, copying martial arts stance, and the occasional bit of sparring with Goku. So I'm just going to give you a quick power level, just an idea of where he is. I'll probably go low 20s, high teens, which isn't great, but he has only just started training, and I'm assuming his starting power level was about 10, 8 to 12 maybe. He went toe to toe with Kid Goku, whose power level was 10. That's what I'm operating off here. Anyway, Ox King also says, like normal, if you come across a young girl, that's my daughter, please bring her back. And Goku does come across Chi-Chi. And like interest, they hit it off. Goku not really understanding what's happening, but Chi-Chi, sees Goku might be a future husband. Everything here goes normal. They get the Turtle Hermit. They bring him back. He didn't have the Banjo's fan, so he puts it out with the Kamehameha. Now, like normal, Goku replicates the Kamehameha, but he isn't the first one to do it. Enma's the first one to do it. He shows that his Kamehameha is actually pretty powerful, but still weaker than Roshi's. Roshi noting the only reason it was weaker because it was his first Kamehameha. And then Goku does it, and it's pretty strong. It's the weakest one of the group we've seen so far, but it's still decently powerful. And Yamcha, who's seen it 3 times now and saw that 2 novices have done it, decide he wants to give it a try. He does the right pose and he actually forms a little bit of energy. However, that's all he can manage. Master Roshi is impressed with this and says well done. It took him years to get this technique down. And then he offers for him to train Enma and Goku like he did earlier before, with them saying they've only got a little bit more of this adventure they want to do, and then they'll definitely come train with you. However, would their friend Yamcha be able to come train as well? Roshi then says, yes, of course he could. I see a lot of potential in the young man. Roshi is a bit annoyed that he's going to have to be training one more person. However, like I said, he does see a lot of potential in Yamcha, and he's not wrong to see it. Yamcha hearing the fact, 1, he's going to be trained by the Master Roshi, and 2, that he sees potential in him, makes him really excited and a little cocky. Then he soon remembers he couldn't shoot a Kamehameha. And this sort of lines back up to normal, with the group finding their Dragon Balls and saying goodbye to everyone. Goku and Chi-Chi sort of have a moment again, and Tarble sort of understood what was going on. Bulma understood what was going on. Yamcha's probably understood what was going on. But the thing is, Goku's the only one who didn't, and his younger brother does try to explain what he understands. After all, Enma has been watching Yamcha and Bulma interact, and they've sort of got this flirtiness going. But he's only learning from Yamcha and Bulma, which probably isn't the best people to learn from. Anyway, now the next part of the story is the Boss Rabbit bit. This goes pretty much like normal. A few minor differences is, when the goons come over, Yamcha steps up to defend Bulma, and he does a good job. He beats them up. Boss Rabbit still turns Bulma into a carrot. However, there's 3 people there, and they threaten to pretty much destroy him if they don't turn Bulma back. He says yes. He still gets sent to the moon by Goku, who borrowed the power pole from Tarble. Now, the next part is the peel-off bit. Now, when the peel-off gang attack, they don't actually manage to grab any Dragon Balls. They are trying to fight a much, much stronger Goku and his 100 times stronger brother. So they don't actually get away with any Dragon Balls, and Enma actually manages to get hold of Shu. And when they start interrogating him to try and get some information out of him, they find out that they have the last Dragon Ball. So they decide that they will, take Shu with them to trade for the last Dragon Ball. So when they arrive at Pilaf Castle and offer to trade, and Pilaf rejects the deal, it sort of confuses Goku and Enma. Like, aren't you two supposed to be, really good friends? It's just a Dragon Ball, it won't be the end of the world. But they don't have much time to think. Bulma says, can you just go and get the Dragon Ball for me? And Enma and Goku run in and have a good time. There's traps going off, things they have to avoid, things they have to destroy. They have a good time. And when they get to Pilaf and Mai, they just quickly knock the pair out, grab the ball and head out. And when they take it out to Bulma, they now have all 7 Dragon Balls. But they don't have a wish. Unlike normal, Bulma and Yamcha have this relationship now. Both have sort of got their wishes before they needed to. So Yamcha's over his fear and Bulma got a boyfriend. So the group don't know what to wish for. So they just they'll decide during the night and they'll camp outside. And it comes to the point where the boys share the story. Their grandpa told them about the scary monster that comes out in a full moon. And like normal, the 2 boys look at the full moon, becoming great apes. This is a much stronger and much worse scenario. The Great Apes are a lot stronger here, and there's 2 of them. Not only that, but this is the second time this has happened to the boys, and immediately the pair begin to fight. The other 4 of the group are in shock. They don't know what to do. How do they stop this? Everyone on the planet who can sense energy is now in a bit of state of panic as well. Kami is considering coming down to try and do something. He's majorly outclassed, but he might be able to do something. Roshi's contemplating something. The Crane School are even thinking about doing something. But for now, they don't know what to do. Until Bulma hears an older voice in the back of her head saying, "Get the Dragon Balls and get rid of the moon." Now, not really thinking and not really putting 2 and 2 together, the fact that the Great Apes came out with the moon, she now understands why the boys changed. It was because of the full moon. So she shouts out to everyone, "Get the balls, we'll make a wish to get rid of the moon," which will put Goku and Enma back to normal. And everyone begins to panic because they're trying to get hold of these balls. And they're trying to do it fast now because the Great Ape, which was once their friend Enma, is seriously putting Goku in a bad spot. He's starting to beat him up really bad, and he might even die. Yamcha, being the one who might stand the best chance of going in to grab some balls, actually manages to grab all of them. He managed to luckily dodge one attack because he stood near some rocks, which sort of made the monkey flinch just enough. And when he gets back to Bulma, she quickly shouts out, makes the wish, and says to remove the moon. And like that, the moon's gone. It's just out of the sky. And slowly the boys revert back to normal and sleep through the rest of the night. And things line up with canon again, and the boys ask what happened to their grandpa's ball. They get explained the lore of the Dragon Balls, and they decide they'll go looking for it in a year. Like normal, the group decides to split ways. However, instead of Yamcha going with Bulma, he wants to go with the 2 Saiyans. And he tries to get on Nimbus with them, but there's not enough room and he can't actually ride it. So Bulma offers to give him a lift there. When they arrive at Roshi House, they all give the old hermit a little wave, ask is he ready to do some training, and he says yes. There's this nice moment where Bulma and Yamcha interact saying goodbye. It's a bit of a sad moment, but they're both, they've sort of got this relationship now. Bulma gives Yamcha a kiss on the cheek, which almost kills the poor boy out of, embarrassment, but he hangs in there, and she says, "Please come visit me in West City." He says he will, and then she takes Puar with her just to make sure Yamcha does come to visit. And like that, the training does begin. Like normal, Master Roshi wants them to go get them a hot girl. The only issue is, the only 2 who can ride Nimbus at this point in time is Goku and Enma, and they have no idea of what hot is. So they keep bringing very weird girls back to Roshi, and eventually they are saved when Krillin shows up, and everything there goes normal, with Launch coming back with the group, and all of them being terrified of her. Like normal, they move Kame House to the big main island bit, and they begin the training. First off, they want to do that quick race with, I'll just give out not the times, but the order who won, with Tarble coming in first, Goku coming in second, Krillin coming in third, and Yamcha coming in fourth. Yamcha only just lost to Krillin, but it wasn't that bad. Roshi doesn't run because he knows, he just makes out that he's faster than Tarble. It'll be too embarrassing. Then the next bit is the rock hunt. Krillin still tries to cheat, however Goku and Enma do quite good in this. They've lived in the forest for a few years, and eventually Goku does find a rock. At first, this is where Krillin takes off Goku. However, Enma then takes off Krillin, and while Enma isn't looking, Yamcha takes it off him. And it sort of becomes this weird game of hot potato, because no one can keep hold of the rock long enough to make it back to Kame House. And eventually it gets to the bit where they're at the bridge. Like what Krillin did, Yamcha cuts down the bridge. However, he wasn't expecting Goku to be very close to crossing the bridge, and he jumps at Yamcha, manages to grab the rock, and he rolls into Kame House. Now, and that makes him the winner. So he's the one who gets to eat the dinner that night. Now, the next morning, they do the milk run. However, the difference here is that Goku and Enma have to wear heavy turtle shells to make it fair. He doesn't want the other students to think that he doesn't believe they can do it, so he gives them much, much lighter shells without telling the 2. And they all begin this milk run. This means that they're actually getting a lot more, training out of this, but it's also taking them a little bit longer to do. They start wearing these shells for everything, and all the other training goes like normal. the bit where they do the rock, Tarble's able to move it with ease. He just sort of leans against it and it moves. This worries Master Roshi because he doesn't think they're ready to handle much of the training he can do. And then he points to a bigger one, which Tarble moves with ease again. And then he says everyone has to be able to move the rock, just to make it so he gets a little bit longer. And 3 months pass and everyone's able to start moving the rock with much ease. This surprises Turtle Hermit as he wasn't expecting them to be able to do it so soon. And he soon realises that Krillin and Yamcha's shells are getting too light for them. And surprisingly, Tarble and Goku's shells are getting way too light for them. So he gives them heavier ones and starts putting them through the same training as they were doing. But, saying that this is the advanced stage of their training. However, everyone is growing quite greatly from it. And just to give you an idea of how strong our cast is at the moment, I'm just going to give you some power levels. These are just sort of rough. This is probably the closest I'm going to get. So we'll start off with Tarble, aka Enma now. He has been the strongest in the cast for the longest time, and he probably will still be the strongest for a while. He's the Star Turtle student, and he began his training with a power level of about 435. And I want to be fair to him, because he probably did train his butt off, and Roshi did make the training a bit harder for him. So let's say his power level went from 435 to about 480 to 490, somewhere there. Just because I believe he would have trained hard. Now, I want to move over to Goku, who's the second strongest, and he's probably trained the hardest out of everyone. Not only does he love fighting the most, he also has had this goal since he was young to overtake his younger brother. And he's had some pretty heavy shells, he's done some pretty hard training. He's also done some extra training with Krillin and Yamcha, who are trying to catch up to him, but he's trying to catch up to Enma. It's this really nice domino effect of having Enma there that made everyone stronger. Now, he started out with a power level of about 135, and I'm now going to give him a power level of about 240, which I think is a good increase. Next is Yamcha, who I'm excited personally, because hopefully in this What If we can have Yamcha do something amazing. Now, the growth he's had has been a bit slow since he did start training back when they first met him, but once he started doing the turtle training, made his old training seem like just an easy workout, which, to be fair, his old training probably made him a bit more equipped for this. Now, first off, he's been trying to catch up to Goku and Enma, and he's been trying to do that for a while. He's also always wanted to take part in a tournament, and he's going to do that soon. He's also asked Bulma to go there, so he's extra determined to get stronger. So let's say when he first arrived at Master Roshi's, his power level was about 30, 32, somewhere around there. His power level is probably now about 120, which I think sounds alright. It isn't a lot compared to the two Saiyans. However, he has learnt some other cool tricks. While he's been training with Goku and Krillin, Goku pretty much taught him all of the fundamentals he knows about the Kamehameha, and when Enma found out that Goku was teaching them the Kamehameha, he thought he would pitch in and gave them some pointers as well. So now, Yamcha can pretty much do his own Kamehameha. He's got a few issues he needs to work out with it, and he is nearly there. He just needs to, get a bit more practice in with it. Krillin started a little stronger than Yamcha, and he's always wanted to become an amazing martial artist, so he's probably been training pretty hard himself. Goku got on pretty much straight away. They're very good friends. They're probably the best of friends. They're not quite as close as Goku and Enma, but they're bloody close anyway. Much like Yamcha, he has been taught pretty much all of the basics of the Kamehameha, and he maybe could fire his own. He's not 100% sure yet, but he does know he could possibly do it. And the training he had is very good for him as well. So let's say he came to Kame House with a power level of about 36 to 34. Now let's put his power level at about 140. It makes him the third strongest and only just above Yamcha. I think this is a pretty fair place to put him. And that's all I'm going to cover with these students for now. Like I said, Roshi knows all of his students have gotten loads stronger, and he's proud of all of them. So the day before they leave for the tournament, he treats his students to a banquet just before they leave, and it's just a nice way to say well done for your training, do good in the tournament. And that's where I'm going to leave it for this part. I've covered a decent chunk of the Dragon Ball arc. I've left it on the edge of the tournament because I think I could have a quick, fun little tournament at the start of my next part, and then I'm going to try and have it end maybe before the next tournament. I don't quite know. The Red Ribbon saga, which I think is after the tournament, isn't my most known saga, so I'm going to have to do my homework a bit on that. Anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed this. I'm sorry it takes me a lot to cover one arc most of the time. I tend to drag on a little bit, but I like having these little details. I probably could have skipped some bits in here and got straight to the tournament. I do apologise, and I'll try and be a bit faster next time. But I just want to know, how does everyone feel about this part? Let me know where you think Tarble should end up, and I hope everyone's alright with the name he's been given. Have a good day or a great night, and I'll see you next time.